Brando, welcome.
Thank you so much, Stefan.
I think we should do that the other way.
I'm so excited to be here at KFA, Kitplanes for Africa.
That's
Is that
the one.
right? Here at Petit Airfield and not far outside of Johannesburg on a beautiful but rainy day here. And Stefan has very graciously offered to give us a tour of the factory and show us around, show us the process and how they make these incredible aircraft and what's on the horizon for the future. So we're standing in, what have we got here? The main hangar, lots of beautiful planes. We see E-props, we see, talk to us, tell us, where are we?
Okay, so yeah, this is the main production assembly. We do the final checks and things in this hangar before I actually go test fly. So this aircraft is an Explorer. It is the smaller of our range, and it's an LSA aircraft. It's available as an E-LSA and an S-LSA. So we are now exporting to the US. So this is actually going to be the first one in the US as an S-LSA. So we just...
And so LSA is light sport aircraft, right?
Yes.
E-LSA would be an experimental.
light sport.
And an S-LSA?
Is a factory-built light sport.
There you go.
Okay.
Excellent. So you can do training.
People know these terms.
So that means you can do training in it and you can buy it factory built rather than build it yourself.
So the next model is an XL Safari. So the XL, we made it for the big boys. If you are close to 7 foot, you'll probably fit. It's literally our one of our dealers is 6'11", I think, or something.
Oh my goodness.
So and he fits. So
Wow.
this is an XL. So basically the differences are it's got a different wing. We call it the STL wing, which is actually the stall wing. The stall wing, percentage-wise, I can't think now how many percent bigger, but it's 1.5 square meters larger. So I don't know how many feet is that in. You will have to do the calculation and tell the viewer. So it's about 1.5 square meters more wing area. We redesigned the wingtips. In terms of the fuselage is lifted by 30 millimeters, or I think it's 1.25 inches for the roof height. We shortened the engine mount by 1.25 inches, and we moved the firewall forward by 1.25 inches. So the center of gravity, everything's still in the same place, but we just created more space in the cockpit. And if you actually look at our aircraft, there's a lot of space between the engine and the firewall. So even by moving the engine or making the engine mount shorter by 30 millimeters, we still have a lot of space everywhere. We can still compact this a lot. So we didn't lose any of that. The couple of differences then, the landing gear, you have two options. You have a standard gear or the extended gear, which is this one, and it gives you the height. And we need the ground clearance for off-field landings. It's got our KFA buffalo suspension. We call it the buffalo because have you seen an angry buffalo? It just goes through the bush. So that's basically the Safari XL. Mostly they come out with a 916 engine.
Right.
We also have our own variants of Rotax and the Chinese engines that we build at KFA. So that's an option. It's more affordable. But the 916 is a very nice engine.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Take us back, if you would, to when you guys got started, a little bit about the history and the markets.
It was before my time. So the company started 1993, somewhere around there. I don't have an exact starting date. I couldn't determine, but it was during 1993. There was a group of guys, they wanted to have their own aircraft. We still had the trade embargoes in South Africa. It was just at the end of apartheid. And so these guys got hold of different, and then the first 10 aircraft were basically all the same, and then they started developing it. It was first called the Bush Wagon, and then they changed the name to a Bush Baby to be more African. I don't know. And then I think from serial number 28, a lot of development started happening. There was a bit of development between serial number 10 and 28. From 29, actually, they started changing a lot of stuff because the engines, moved from being Volkswagen Beetle engines to either the two-stroke Rotex 582 or the 80 horsepower Rotex 912 UL.
Okay.
And then, as the engines grow bigger, you need to change some structural stuff. So the landing gear was upgraded, the tails were upgraded, the spar carry-throughs in the roofs were upgraded for higher max takeoff weights.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept on happening up to 2003. In 2003, the previous owner, because I'm the third owner of the company, so the previous owner started looking at a complete update of the aircraft to fix a lot of the annoying things of the Bush Baby. So the Bush
And
Baby...
about how many were out at that point?
About 300 to 350.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so quite a lot.
Mm.
And then the Explorer Mark 1, let's call it that, was born. So it was 2 inches higher in the roof, 2 inches more leg room. They extended the firewall forward. They designed the cowlings were very stubby cowlings, looked like a bulldog. So they actually stretched everything a little bit, make new cowlings, and then they redesigned the tail section to be bigger or larger so that it can handle the higher horsepower engines and also for stability. So that model stayed in production until 2008 when I bought the company. And then myself and my previous partner in the company, we started further developing the product, because now we are pilots as well. The previous guy wasn't a pilot, he was an engineer, but you need to fly as well to find out what the issues are. So because we were pilots as well, we started changing small things on the aircraft. And then slowly we developed the Mark II, and then finally now the last 5-6, since 2017, I redesigned the Explorer basically again to become the Mark III. And this is the one that we certified in the end.
Great.
And if I say certified, we must just clarify this. It's not a type certification like a Cessna.
Right.
This is a type approval rather than a type certification. Although in some countries they call it a type certification because you get a type certificate. The difference, if I may, just explain the difference between this aircraft and a Cessna, for instance.
Okay.
I'm going to put Cessna's name out there. So structurally, your requirements are exactly the same as any certified aircraft. So we have to do the same testing. It has to comply to all of that. It has to do the limit and ultimate loads at whatever certification standard you choose. So if it's a FAR23 and the loads are then calculated and it's 5 Gs or whatever it is, you have to test to 5 Gs for ultimate load. So that's what we do in South Africa. Well, at least in South Africa, that's the requirement.
Okay.
So you have to comply structurally with all the certified aircraft requirements.
Hey, great.
Then aerodynamically, you're allowed to deviate slightly, but very so slightly. So it still has to fall within the certification requirements with testing, once again, loads and handling qualities and so on. But there's a slight bit of leeway for the test pilot. We have flap-ons, for instance. So getting an aircraft that that basically rolls back to level once you let go of the stick is very difficult in a flap-on aircraft because they neutralize each other, the flap-ons. So you turn and you let go of the stick and it will sit in the turn. So the stick forces are very light. So that is the one requirement. So then where the difference comes in really is the way that two things happen. Is the way that you accept materials. So material acceptance for steel, whatever, starts at the door of the factory. So if we decide this is the international standard or South African standard that we use to buy, let's say, steel, when it gets to the factory door, our quality people make sure it is the quality that we tested. And that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have a choice of the engine, propellers, avionics, wheels and brakes that are not certified. they are approved, ASTM approved and so on, but they are not fully certified. So it gives us a little bit of leeway on that. For instance, the KFA engines that we build are on our type certificate because they were tested during certification and they conform with the minimum requirements that was required for certification. That is why they are on the type certificate and they can go as a production aircraft engine. So those are basically the differences. I know there are countries where they don't do a lot of testing and, experimental is really experimental, but not in this country. Experimental is not line country.
That's a great distinction.
It's regulated. It's similar to the UK. The UK is also highly regulated with experimental aircraft.
Oh, good to know. All right.
You wanted me to carry drums down a minute ago.
So what we did here is we tested a new fabric, so just to see if it works. This is the test piece.
Can I touch it? Ooh, strong.
And so we painted this with polyurethane. We tested the flexibility, so it's actually quite flexible.
Super. So it's tube and fabric construction and wood frame.
So
wooden
the wings are going to be, at the moment, the test wing has got wooden ribs, but that's going to be replaced with aluminum. And then we're going to have aluminum top skin, and the bottom is going to be fabric, and the fuselage is going to be fabric. So it's made for bush repairs. So stick duct tape on if a pair wants to.
I got it.
Okay, so basically this is our weld shop. We have different sections. The furthest section there is where they build the Bush Baby and the Explorer. And this section is where they do the Safari Mark III and the XL.
Okay, great.
We'll go around, it's messy like any weld shop. So we would get raw steel in. They would then use smaller jigs for a sub-assembly jig, basically. They would weld the stuff, and then the sub-assembly jig parts would be put in the main jig, where they would be married together, and then all the small braces and everything are put into the main jig. So let me see if we have, these ones came out of the jig now, but there might be some parts. This is a jig for welding exhaust.
No, can't.
As an example, this would be a landing gear jig, and it would be left and right, and you would weld a flat piece, then put it at an angle. So it's complicated, but you actually only use one flat piece of steel to do that, and then eventually it will come out looking like there. It will need to be final welded, so it will come out like this.
Wonderful.
It's fourth weld.
Cool. That's all right. Lovely.
And then once this is done, it will go for final welding, and then we'll do quality, and then from quality it will go to paint, where they'll do styling. So here's an example of building a side. So they'll build a left side. The other side will be the right side, we can turn it around.
Ah.
So it's a mirror.
It's a spit, yeah.
So they first do the one about.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's exact mirror image on both sides. That's great.
But also, this is only an approximate jig. Look at it that way. So it's not exactly accurate. So we tack weld it in here, and once it gets taken out of here into the main jig, they do the final placement.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Because you couldn't put all the pieces in the final jig without, you have to tack weld it first. Excellent.
This one.
Cool.
So as an example, they would weld this section separately, and then bring it to this jig from another jig, put it in here, and then start joining it with the rear section. Then from here, it will go into the middle. And this is where the marrying starts at the end.
Cool.
So then they would connect all, you see these are not connected yet. So everything will be put in place. They've got markers to mark where everything should go. Like these markers are bolted in, and those are bolted in. This is bolted in to give you the position of this corner. And so the firewall is made separately, bolted in and then welded on. So yeah, everything's like a little Lego or jigsaw puzzle, whatever you want to call it.
No pun intended, jigsaw.
When it's up to a certain point of welding, they'll take it out of the jig, so it won't be finished in here. They would do most of the tack welding in here, so wherever they can do a final weld, they will do that. And then it will be taken out, and then they'll do the final weld outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's been some bending also happening.
This all happens just because of the shape of the jig.
The jig does the
jig
bending.
It's the bending out.
Wow.
Actually, we don't physically put it in a bender and bend it.
So because I see, wow.
A natural curve and then locked in with all the brace on it.
Oh, cool.
This is a safari.
Oh, look at that.
But as far as
Check out these welds. My goodness, that's one hardy. It's one hardy weld. I have a welded piece to show you my brag piece.
real brake,
But that's great.
these are difficult welds to do. So we only do TIG welds.
Okay.
We don't do MIG, any other welding. So that's basically the weld shop in a nutshell.
Excellent.
There's an engine mount there on the bench that they're busy with now. So yeah, all little pieces. Eventually everything ends up there for final weld and quality checking. And then it goes to stores. Sorry, it goes from here to the paint shop where they check it again, prime it. And then from the paint shop, it will go either come back here if there's a flaw, or it will go to stores where they'll do the final quality inspection, and it will be accepted in stores, and then it's ready for packing for the customer.
Excellent, excellent.
We do not send out the raw steel like this, so everything gets primed. It gets chromate primed. The composite, we basically have two things going with the composite. We have the standard fiberglass materials that we're using, and then we have carbon fiber. So most of our new products and all our factory built aircraft have got carbon wherever we can put carbon in the plane.
Okay.
And that's to save weight, especially for the German market, because they are required to have a parachute. It's an absolute requirement. So we are trying to gain that 20 kilos or 15 kilograms, 30, 40 pounds back with the carbon, but it comes at a price. But the planes turn out nice, and they are about 15 to 20 kilos lighter. So you actually make up for the Buffalo suspension that we have on, and the carbon, and the parachute system in the back. Okay, so the carbon we do vacuum, and we also do hand layups. Most of the stuff they do here is hand layup, and then there's a bit of vacuum on the smaller stuff. We are at the moment developing a carbon Kevlar seats and so on, so that
Sweet.
Yeah, the seats, our tanks, they have to remain composite because we need the flex in the wing. You know, the wing flexes, so we don't want a rigid tank. It will crack. So theoretically, I'm still working on that. Okay, so simple, everything is either hand layup or vacuum. So we'll have a mold like this, they'll do the normal layups. And then we have a vacuum machine there that can do 3 or 4 pieces at a time. And as I said, the smaller parts are all mostly vacuum. Machine heads are works in progress, so they either need trimming or a bit of cleaning and a bit of fixing of some small flaws and so on. This is going to be my next sheet.
Ooh. Wow, that's light.
Ronald is actually our chief laminating.
Hi, Ronald. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
So these are stuff that gets molded into the cowlings for lights, so it's a light holder.
Amazing.
And these are like your turbo scoop intakes. These are center consoles. You can pick them.
Wow. They're like negative 5 pounds, 3 pounds. Amazing.
The new STL wingtips, which is our bigger wing. We have 2 different wings. That's I think the English call it the glare shield. We actually call it the dashboard.
Right.
which is actually an instrument panel, but and it's Weldings.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
So it's an unfinished one. So
Oh my gosh. Can I put this in my pocket, take it home, and figure out how to put it on mine? Oh, this is amazing. Wow.
lucky one, 3 or more.
Okay, you're on.
Who's hiding their shoes here? It's flat here.
That's amazing.
Women like to. Just be careful of the carbon.
Look at this. Oh my gosh, so light.
Trimmed yet, so
It's not even trimmed yet. That's terrific. Beautiful lines.
yeah, it's cool.
Beautiful shape. Love it.
So if you add all this together, you get to close to 20 kilograms. On
20 kilograms. I'll have to.
It's
Convert that.
44 pounds.
Whoa.
I think it's 2.2, right? Kilo, 2 pounds. So yeah, it's 44 pounds.
Excellent.
Spinners, we do make our own spinners, it's carbon, but mostly we use E-prop, and they come with a very nice carbon spinner and carbon propeller. And we also use FP propeller from Italy for the hydraulic and the electric propellers, and that is where we use those spinners on.
Okay.
And then these are our fairings that go on the lift struts. So we changed this over to carbon, and that's actually where the most weight was lying.
Oh, really? See. Can feel one versus the other. Okay, this is kind of
Just a little
doesn't feel that heavy to me.
No, but once you've done the whole layup,
Oh, it's not.
it's a lot lighter.
Cool. Neat. Thank you.
Go on.
So cool.
I think let's go down to the bottom. But yeah, we have I don't know if you guys will want to keep on recording, but so we have different tank sizes. The larger tanks for the Safari and the STL wing. So we have I don't know how many gallons, but it's 50, 57, and 63. You know, Robert? 64. Okay. Nearly there. So those are the 3 tank sizes, times 2, because one everything.
Okay. Cool.
And this is where we do the flaperons. So this is the flaperon is a single piece. Is this the one you're changing over to carbon? Not yet. Okay, so we're going to make one flaperon in carbon. We haven't done it yet. Those are the flaperons there. Because I don't know, it's going to be flexible enough.
Okay.
So we need to load test them and so on. So you see this is flexible.
Uh-huh.
And it is light. This is untrimmed.
Uh-huh.
You can pick it up this.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's not trimmed yet. Lots of showing.
So it's cool.
So these are 2 layers. They build one side, one skin,
And then,
and then they do a layup on the inside with a spar, and then it gets bonded closed. And that's why you get this.
oh,
But this all needs to be
okay,
finished.
it's fun.
So it's hollow and ribs inside. And then
Cool.
here, on the hanging bracket.
Oh, that's great. That's helpful.
So yeah, we would drill a hole at the bottom, if there's water coming in there, that it can just drain out. Sorry, Ronald, am I breaking your stuff? Okay, you don't want to wing it. I think next foot down.
Excellent. Thank you.
These are just all molds. Segregate. So what we're doing this side, we are now going to build a curing booth in there for the composite. So we're going to do 18 feet, and there's the which are. Sorry.
Not at all.
So we're going to do a curing booth for fiberglass or composites on the one side, or composites. How do you pronounce it?
Composites.
Composites.
I don't know. I've been here long enough. It sounds composites. Sounds right to me.
On the inside of the container, there's about 3 meters, which is 9-10 feet, that we're going to blank off and build an oven. so that we can do glass molding and so on for doors
Great.
and windscreen stuff. Working on it.
Great. When's
Nobody really nobody says anything about it. We're just scrolling past.
Can you, before you shut down, are you shutting down? Just open the render of the... So this one is 4 doors. You can see it looks similar to a Safari, and that's the whole... We want to keep the lineage the same. If you look at a BMW or Mercedes or whatever, you can see it's the same if it's a 1961 or a current one. This is actually quite a large aircraft.
So tell us more about the specifications.
Okay, so firstly, the wing area is about 17 square meters. The wingspan is 10. The wingspan is 10 meters, and the chord is obviously then 1.7. We're planning on a maximum takeoff weight of 1.1 ton, but we're actually planning towards 1.2. So I think because we want to make it a real 4-seater. And then not a lot of luggage. We're keeping the luggage area smaller, maybe 30 kilograms, 60, 70 pounds max. Fuel capacity is going to be between 200 and 250 liters at the moment. We're just seeing where the aileron push pulls will go, because that will determine the final volume. It's going to be able to take 400 kilogram pilots with a little bit of luggage and full fuel. So that's basically the idea. And we want to keep the takeoff runs short, even at petite, where we had high innovation or density altitudes. I would like to keep it under 200 meters fully loaded. And I expect it to be, with a 916, a reasonably average aircraft. It will be a reasonably short field takeoff. It will have a reasonably decent climb, and I think we'll cruise between 110 and 120 knots. If we go over 100, I'll be happy anyway. But we actually, I think with that power output calculated, we should easily be able to do 110 indicated airspeed. And then our stall speeds, we are designing this for Mosaic. How do you pronounce it?
Mosaic.
That's it? Same one. So the stall speed is going to be under 55 knots teal. I think it was 55 was the last target, 54 knots.
54, but they're looking at that. So we'll see what the ruling comes out with.
We will be under that anyway. So that's the idea, and the maximum speed, the VNE is going to be about 165, 170 knots. So our cruise can go up to 145, 150 knots theoretically, but this is a bush plane, so I don't think we'll ever get there. I think realistically we'll be similar to the Bearhawk. If I can compare it with some aircraft out there, I would say 120 to 140 miles an hour. Not based, whatever, what's that in knots? 115 to 130.
Okay, that's respectable. That's great.
We'll be there, but then it's a big engine.
So thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us and show us all these wonderful airplanes and give us some insight about your process, your future plans. It's been spectacular. I just can't thank you enough, Stefan. We'll look forward to welcoming you in these wonderful airplanes at Oshkosh this year.
Thank you.
But I do believe that Dan Johnson, he did a YouTube video about Mosaic, and he gave you guys a shout out at the end as one of the, 3 or 4 most interesting things that he saw at Oshkosh. I've got that right?
Yeah,
so
you did.
Congratulations on that, and thank you for pointing them out, Dan. And we'll look forward to seeing you there. And will people have, we'll link to your website and people can find out more. Will you be doing demo rides or anything for seriously interested people while you're there?
I think we'll do it after Oshkosh.
After
I don't think we'll
Oshkosh,
do it during the time. It's a bit of a mess at Oshkosh and it's busy.
That's true.
So I think we'll do it afterwards.
Excellent.
Or before. If somebody
Excellent.
calls me before, we can do a flight before.
There you go. So
That
thank
is
you.
all barring that I get my FAA validation.
There you go. Well, we'll have to talk to you about who's going to fly him if you don't. Thank you
I know
so
someone
much.
who knows someone. Thank you
Great
very
talking
much.
to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring it in.
You will have it.